here with another infant carrier video, and this time I am going to be testing out 3 different kinds of carriers. And so the first one that I'm starting with is the one that I have had for the past few years that I showed you in the last video. It is the, let me see here, it's called the Infantino Cozy Rider. I found the instruction manual for it. And so with the help of some of you guys who gave me some tips about baby wearing and stuff, which was very helpful, I thank you for that. Someone made a very good point that when you wear your reborns in these carriers, you should be wearing them as you would a real baby, because if you're not wanting to let people know that it's a doll, then you want to make it look as realistic as possible, and you don't want people like side-eyeing you being negligent with your baby or whatever. So so this is my carrier that I've had for the last few years. You saw it in the last video. So I have taken into account some tips you guys gave me, and I also did some reading up on my own. And so this is the way that my carrier should be fitting me compared to my last video. So right now I have Savannah in there, and I have her head turned to the side, and again, like, she's still really in there, and especially if I had this turned up, which also I can pull this in closer with these straps here. And loosening those up actually helped get her in a little bit more easily. But it definitely says in the instructions to put the carrier on you first and then slide your baby in, as opposed to putting them in there and then putting them on you. So with the head support all the way up, I feel like she's suffocating still. Also, in order to have the carrier, have the baby higher up on me, which is what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to have the baby high enough that you can just kiss their little heads. So I can do that now. However, these buckles right here, the big bulky plastic clips that are keeping the back straps or shoulder straps on around the waist, my waist, they are digging into my rib cage because I had to really, really tighten them in order to get this carrier to lift up enough that I can kiss Savannah's head. So definitely with Savannah, I would have it rolled down. It still gives her head support, but at least I don't feel like she's as smothered as she was in my last video. Definitely her feet are very close together, which apparently is not good for real babies. They should be having their legs more almost like, it's hard to do with her because of the way her legs are, but they're supposed to be more like straddling you almost, and that is to help prevent hip dysplasia. So this seat, you know, it's somewhat wide, but I don't think it's wide enough to really like keep her legs apart properly. So I mean, I think it looks better than it did in my last video, but it is very uncomfortable having it like this. These buckles are so big and bulky that having to tighten them this much, because I'm not exactly a tiny girl. I've put on some weight from all the steroids and stuff like that. And now that I'm off steroids, this is my first week off of steroids, I'm really going to try to lose weight. But anyways, just something to keep in mind. It really is tight, and these buckles are like literally digging into my ribs, and it is very, very uncomfortable. So I am hoping that when I try the other carrier, one of the other carriers that I purchased that maybe one of those will be a lot more comfortable. So let's check them out. Okay, so now I have Savannah in the Infantino Unison newborn carrier. And so far, I really like it. In terms of comfort, oh my gosh, what a difference. It was a little bit tricky to figure out the first time putting it on, but I think that now that I have it down, it'll be super easy to put on. So much easier than the old carrier. So it was definitely a lot easier to put on in that there was actually no buckles that I have to do under here that was digging into my rib cage. So that makes it comfortable. Plus easier. All you have to unbuckle is this waistband here. You unbuckle that and you unbuckle these, which brings the whole carrier down. And so then all that you're left with is there is a band under here that goes basically under your boobs. And then there's the part like that goes over you, and it goes already at the back, crisscross like that. So you just slip it over you like a t-shirt almost, and then you have this whole thing on you, and so then you put the torso band around you and you clip it and you leave it loose at first, and it creates the leg holes for you. And then you bring up, or sorry, I think you bring up, if I remember correctly, you bring up the whole carrier first and buckle it on each side. Then you put your band, and then that makes the leg holes. Then once you have the band around the torso, you can unbuckle these again, and it brings this whole part of the carrier down. I'll kind of show you one side. So the clips are a little bit hard for me with my grip to undo, but they're okay. So yeah, so if you take down both sides, it brings down the whole back of the carrier. So you just slip the baby into the leg holes and you hold them in place while you do up the carrier like this. And so it is a lot easier. The fabric is super, super soft. It is so comfy. And I have her, it was actually automatically at the proper height for Miss Savannah here, so I can still kiss her head. I tried to tighten it a little bit. You can tighten it to bring it up more, but when I did that, I felt like I couldn't breathe. So I let it a little bit loose, but she's still, you know, close enough that I can kiss her. Also, you can fold this down a little bit if you want to see her face, which is really cute. And then the cool part about this is, so they suggest for a small newborn baby that you bring these side fabrics in for a not as wide seat. So that's how her legs, but if you wanted to, if you had a bigger baby, you can bring the fabric out to create a wider seat so that it goes right into like the gap of her knee, the crook of her knee, and you can bring it out like this. So definitely there's options for bigger babies, like you can do like an in-between size seat, and then if it's an even bigger baby, you can do like a really wide seat. And then if the baby doesn't really need a lot of head support, then there is a little button here that goes like this, if I am right. So you can undo that, and there's a button, there's like a little snap here, and I'm not really sure what that's for. I would have to, oh, it's for this. It's so that you can clip this down like this, if you so choose to. It is a little tricky for some of these at first because I think they just are a little bit tight from not being used. And of course with me and my joints. So yeah, so there, you can fold it down. Now I mean, she's pretty well in there. She's got good head support in there. So I mean, if you want to show her face off, you can fold it down. And then you can see her cute little face there. She's still wearing her outfit from her Auntie Annie. And yeah, so I like this a lot. And then of course, like if you want a little bit more privacy, you can unsnap that and you can just button them up here to get that extra head support in there. But it is a little bit awkward for me anyway, in trying to get buckles and stuff. But I'm like that with just about anything. It doesn't matter if it's a carrier or what, but buckles and things, sometimes my grip doesn't work, so it takes a little bit of fiddling for me to actually get buttons done up or snaps undone or whatever. So bear with me. But yeah, you can just get it back in there. Probably a lot easier for some of you guys that don't have joint issues, but it's not a big deal to me. I just know that I can get it with some fiddling around and that. So yeah, so that's the Infantino unison carrier, and so far I like it. I don't know that I could fit Zoe very well in here because she's so small. I could give it a try, I guess, but I think she would be lost in there. I really do, because she's so tiny. So I'm kind of hoping that the May tie will be the winner, that I could probably adjust for Zoe. We'll see. We'll be trying that next. But so far, I mean, if I can't find a carrier to fit Zoe, it's not a big deal. My whole thing is that the next smallest baby is Savannah, and if I can get Savannah fit in there, then any of my other babies can fit in there. So that is the main important thing for me, and comfort as well. Like so far, this is super comfortable. There's nothing poking me. There's nothing digging in. I don't feel like I'm, you know, suffocating, that, you know, things aren't too tight, and the fabric just feels so soft and luxurious. So, all right, let's move on to the next carrier. Before I proceed on to the next carrier, I thought I would give it a try and get Zoe in this carrier, and honestly, I was able to get it to work. I can't believe it. So, I did roll down the head support just because she's pretty well in there. She's not moving around. She's not flopping around. And I could pull up the excess fabric, and then I just tightened it a little bit. I raised her up and I tightened it a little bit, and it's not tight to where I can't breathe because she's a lot smaller than Savannah. And I can still kiss her head, and yeah, and you can see her, like, she's just like peeking out there saying hello, aunties and uncles. So this actually works for her. I can't believe it. Like, I don't feel like she's being smothered. I don't feel like she's being suffocated. And she looks cozy, and I feel cozy. So far, I am loving this carrier, but we are going to try the May now. I forget how you say it. But we're going to try that one and see how that compares in terms of comfort and ease and the way that the babies fit in it, and then we'll make our final decision. Okay, so now I have on the Infantino sash, the May tie carrier. So this one's pretty comfortable too. It feels really nice. The fabric's not as soft, but I feel like all of the straps are very comfy. And I feel like you can get the baby a little bit higher up on your chest with this. As you can see, I think she's a little higher up in this than she was with the other carrier. However, My only qualm with this is I found it a little bit more difficult for me to put on than the other one. I thought when I watched like the video on the Infantino website, I thought that it looked fairly easy. But what I failed to realize is that when you first put it on and you tie it around your waist, you have to tie it really tight in a double knot. And for me, it was causing my arms a lot of pain to try to pull that knot tight and keep it tight while I tied the double knot. It was really hurting my arms a lot to have to flex them in that position. So I actually had to have Alex help me tie it on, which is not great because, you know, he's not always going to be here when I decide to use it. I could be by myself and then it's gonna be too loose because it has to be tight. And it was kind of loose. So that's my only concern with it. But Savannah looks great in it. And with this one, it's made for like babies of different sizes. And so her legs don't actually come out. They stay inside. And then it also comes with a sun shield, which I have to read up on how I do that, but I don't know where I know there's some buttons right here where it goes, but I don't know where the other buttons connect to. But anyways, there is a sunshade option. Oh, I see, the buttons are way up here. So you would take this and attach it up here and like up onto the straps, and then it also attaches on here. So there is a sunshade that can go over the whole baby. So there's that option, which is kind of interesting. So, but I mean, once it's on, this is very comfortable as well. In fact, I think it might be a little bit more comfy than the other one. And I do like the fact that I can get the baby pretty high up. So now the test will be to see how Zoe fits in this, because I saved some instructions that I found online on how to make it for a smaller baby. I may or may not have to adjust it because surprisingly, Zoe fit pretty good in the other carrier with minimal adjustments. So I may not have to make too many adjustments. We'll see how she fits. But yeah, I'm just a little hesitant to stick with this one just to the fact of me being able to put it on by myself. It's a little tricky just because of how I have the joint pain from my lupus. So I have to think about the ease of use. I don't really like the idea that I would have to have someone help me to tie it on. Also, when you put the straps on, I tied it again at the back. So I'll just show you what I'm talking about here. So I just untied the wrong one, I think. Wah, wah. So what I was trying to say before I undid the wrong tie is when you tie it onto the front around your baby, it's a lot of sash left just hanging down. I mean, it hangs past my knee. So what you can actually do, they say that if you want, you can do this. You can actually bring it back around to your back and tie it again. Now, there's not a whole lot of sash left to tie around me, but I did manage to do it. But you see what I'm saying? Like, for me, I feel my arms are hurting a lot when I'm trying to tie up something behind me, like something that's on my back, you know what I mean? I mean, you don't have to do that part, but I just think it's a little bit annoying having the strings hanging down so low. But yeah, you can definitely tie it back behind you, but like I said, I really struggle with the tying behind me part. It would be a lot easier if I just got Alex to do it. But for me, like, I want to be able to do it independently, because, you know, there may be times where Alex is at work and I decide to take a baby on an outing in the carrier, and then if I can't tie it myself, well, then what good is it? Right? Like, you see how I'm struggling? Like, I'm trying, because there's not a lot of fabric left, and I'm trying to double knot that, and I got it now. But you see how long that took me, and that's a long time for my arms to be like that, and when I take them off, like, it hurts a lot. So yeah, so like I said, I'm gonna try Zoe in here now. Okay guys, so I have Zoe in here now, and it's working out pretty good. I was able to get her quite high up on me, surprisingly. And I didn't actually really have to adjust it very much. I read online, like, someone had rolled the bottom up and then put a rolled up receiving blanket. Well, I didn't need the blanket. It's hard to explain how I did it, but just basically once I had it on me before I tied it, I just took the bottom part and I rolled it under and up. So you'll see, like, you can't see the black part here like you did on Savannah, like the black strip at the bottom, because I basically rolled it up and under, and then I tied everything, and so it just made the body just a little bit shorter, just enough for her. So she's in there pretty good, and it's really comfy, and she's all nice and, like, cozy in there. Her little arms are here at the side. And like I said, again, because she's so small, her and Savannah both, like, their legs stay inside. So that's kind of nice. They're, like, kind of cocooned in there. And then I guess probably for someone bigger like Landon, his legs would probably come out a bit. But yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty cozy. And I realized that the way that I was tying it on my own was sufficient. It's not super, super loose, but it's tight enough that, like, it's not super tight, but it's tight enough that it serves its purpose and she's secure, which is what matters. So I guess, you know, I could do it on my own. It's just a little bit tricky and it's a little bit painful. So I really have to weigh out which one I think is better. I mean, I think they both work really well in both carriers. I do feel like with this one though, I can get the baby higher on my chest. Like, you can see how high Zoe is compared to how she was in the other. Like, she's literally right there for me to kiss. Like, I don't have to bend down as far. And I feel like she has more breathing room at the side. Like, there's more of a gap between the carrier and her nose, which is kind of nice. So what it really boils down to is both of them are super comfortable. I love the softness of the fabric on the unison, but this one I do think feels a little bit more comfortable as well. And once I got the hang of it, it actually seems to be less steps involved than the other one to put it on. So in that sense, it's quicker and it's easier to put on. But again, it's just the part of trying to reach behind and do it up that's kind of got me iffy on it. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below which one you think is best. Which one would you go with? I definitely am not going with my old carrier. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I am not keeping my old carrier because after feeling these two new carriers, there's no comparison in comfort-wise. Having those big, clunky plastic clips digging into my ribs is not fun. So that one is out the door. So we are down to either the sash or the unison, the one that I had on prior to this. So let me know in the comments below which one you think looks good for my little guys. Because the main important thing was to get one that really works well for the smaller babies, and I know that they definitely will work for my bigger babies, so I didn't bother trying those ones in there. It was mainly about the smaller ones, and once I know that they work, I know that all of them will work. So yeah. Alright guys, well thanks so much for watching me try out all these infant carriers. Please let me know in the comments below which one you would pick. I'm going to have to really think them over. The more I'm wearing this one, the more I'm finding this one even more comfortable than the other one. But I also need to think about being able to use them independently, so without any joint issues. And I'm thinking, like, if I'm having a really bad day where I'm in a lot of pain, this one may not be the most practical. So I really have to think about it, weigh it over. I'll probably watch back my own video to kind of like get a more of an idea, and also weigh in with your comments so that I can kind of get some advice on what you guys think. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if you did. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye guys. Okay guys, so I know I said this video was over, but I decided to try Landon in this carrier just to see how the bigger babies work in this. And while this carrier is still more comfortable, I'm not so sure I like the way he looks in it. This is about as high as I can get him, so it's okay. But he couldn't go in with his legs staying in like the other babies. I had to have his legs out. And I don't know if, you know, for a real baby, certainly this would be okay. But for a reborn doll, I don't know if I like forcing the doll's legs apart this far. It concerns me because I don't want to put strain on the joints and on the cloth body where the leg connects to the cloth body. This is spreading it really far apart. And with reborns, they're not like a real baby, where a real baby, their legs move, you know, they change positions. But reborn dolls are stuck in one position. And so he has one leg that's bent almost like it should be on a real baby in one of these. But then he has this other leg here that's more straight. It's not quite as bent as the other leg. And so it kind of sticks out weird. So I'm not so sure about this. I'm going to have to try him in the other carrier just to see. But anyways, let me know what you guys think, and I'll quickly come back and show him in the other carrier. Okay, so this is Landon in the Infantino, the gray one. I forget what it's called now. The unison. And I feel like I like the way he fits in this carrier better. His legs can still be in the proper position, but I don't feel like they're being overly forced or pulled. And it's quite comfortable the way that I was able to adjust the straps to have him high up. He's nice and high. I can still kiss the top of his head. And yeah. So that is the bigger baby in this carrier. It works out really nicely. I don't have to roll this down. I mean, I could if I wanted, but I don't have to. You can still see his little face peeking out. Yeah, I don't know. This carrier is just as comfortable too. So it's just a matter of, I don't know who I think. I mean, I think Zoe and Savannah probably fit a little bit better in the sash, but Landon fits better in this one. And I mean, I definitely can make this one work for the other two, as you saw. So yeah, so I don't know. Decisions. And I will definitely let you know in another video what I do decide on. But like I said, leave your comments below on what you think looks good. So that is it now for this video. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye. And it is the British design as well of George, and I got it says here that in the UK this is considered 6 to 9 months, in the US it's considered 12 months, and here in Canada it's considered 6 to 12 months. So it's like this little pink top, and it's got this beautiful embroidery on it, and then it has these little bloomers underneath, and so I thought those were like really cute for